Welcome, I'm Larissa Braz, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Zurich. And I'll present our paper called Why Don't Developers Detect Improper Input Validation? Projects, organizations, and researchers are working hard to prevent vulnerabilities to be introduced in software systems. However, dangerous vulnerabilities are still routinely discovered in production software. So, why does this happen? Answering this question is key to understand how to support security software engineering. Looking for an answer, we ran an online experiment in which participants had to review some code with a vulnerability. Let me give you some details on our experiment setup. First, we welcomed the participants and offered a $5 donation to a charity if they were willing to complete our experiment. Those who agreed were asked to review a code change. This change included a vulnerability, but the participants were not informed about it. This is how the code change was shown to participants, very similar to standard code review tools. We randomly assigned participants to a code change with either a SQL injection or an improper validation for a specified quantity input, IVQI. These vulnerabilities have the same root cause, improper input validation. The SQL injection is presented with a clear pattern, also known as attack scenario, that is often shown in textbooks and popular culture. Instead, the IVQI does not present such a clear pattern, so we expect it to not trigger the reviewer's attention, even if it's as easy to detect and fix as the SQL injection. In total, 146 participants performed our experiment. 80 were randomly assigned to the SQL injection and 66 to the IVQI. In the first step, more than half of the participants did not find the vulnerability. Most participants assigned to the IVQI vulnerability did not find it, while most assigned to the SQL injection did find it. SQL injection is 7 times more likely to be found by participants than the IVQI. Our analysis confirmed that having a clear pattern is significant to attract reviewers' attention. But what happens if we warn developers of the vulnerability? Does it even out the results? We find this out in the rest of the experiment. First, we surveyed these participants regarding their security experience and knowledge. Like this. Then, we warned the participants about the presence of a vulnerability in the change and allowed them to reconsider the review. Like this. As expected, more participants were able to find the vulnerability after the warning. This way, we observed that warning has an effect on detecting proper input validations, and most developers can detect the SQL injection. But many developers cannot detect IVQI, even after the warning. In the rest of the experiment, we try to understand why. So let's see. The next step of our experiment was showing the exact vulnerability. And we explicitly asked the participants to reflect on their performances and why or why not they found the vulnerability. Those who found the vulnerability in the first code review said something like, SQL injections issues are among the most common and glaring issues in code that I review. While those who found it after the warning explained that they needed to be reminded to focus on security, or they lacked the confidence about the vulnerability. Answers for both SQL injection and IVQI were similar. In total, 60 participants missed the vulnerability we introduced in the code change, even after being warned about it. When asked why this happened, both SQL injection and IVQI participants reported lacking knowledge or experience. They also said they overlooked the details or reviewed different aspects of the code. In the next step in our experiment, the developers filled demographic questions that allowed us to confirm that most factors related to low knowledge and practice contributed to missing these vulnerabilities even after a warning. As an interesting note, many participants told us at the end that they enjoyed the experiment and cared about the topic. Let's now reflect a little bit on the results. Our study shows that the existence of a known pattern facilitates the detection of vulnerabilities. Developers struggle to recognize vulnerabilities when such a scenario is not available. In fact, many participants reported the lack of knowledge and practice as one of the main reasons for not identifying vulnerabilities. So, we need to improve developer security knowledge, for example, by creating different educational approaches. As attack patterns seem to be more memorable than generic indications, educators may focus more on practical scenarios when teaching security. Developers also said that they did not find the vulnerability because they focused on different things in a code review. Indeed, the warning helped many of them focus and find the vulnerability. These results raise questions on the effectiveness of the current development process, including coding and reviewing activities. To create a different approach, one may consider incorporating explicit aspects in development activities, such as checklists for code review. An open question is, how can developers be trained to find security issues? Based on our experience, we think that in code reviews, junior developers can be guided by senior developers in identifying vulnerabilities, with the benefit of having a clear, real-world example and scenario. Software projects can consider how to integrate these approaches into their practices. To sum up, our results indicate that many developers still struggle identifying vulnerable code, even after being warned about a vulnerability. This calls for more research and practice focused on creating a different code review mindset and new educational approaches for secure software engineering. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone again. We are now starting the Q&A for our third paper. And the author that is here with us is Larissa Brass. This paper has also been awarded ACM 6 of Distinguished Paper Award. So congratulations also to Larissa and all the other co-authors. Please start sending your questions on the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. I think at the moment we don't have a question for Larissa, but while people are typing, I have a question for you, Larissa. Again, thank you very much for your video presentation of your nice work. While I was looking at your video, I was wondering about the level of expertise of the people.
Welcome, I'm Larissa Braz, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Zurich. And I'll present our paper called Why Don't Developers Detect Improper Input Validation? Projects, organizations, and researchers are working hard to prevent vulnerabilities to be introduced in software systems. However, dangerous vulnerabilities are still routinely discovered in production software. So, why does this happen? Answering this question is key to understand how to support security software engineering. Looking for an answer, we ran an online experiment in which participants had to review some code with a vulnerability. Let me give you some details on our experiment setup. First, we welcomed the participants and offered a $5 donation to a charity if they were willing to complete our experiment. Those who agreed were asked to review a code change. This change included a vulnerability, but the participants were not informed about it. This is how the code change was shown to participants, very similar to standard code review tools. We randomly assigned participants to a code change with either a SQL injection or an improper validation for a specified quantity input, IVQI. These vulnerabilities have the same root cause, improper input validation. The SQL injection is presented with a clear pattern, also known as attack scenario, that is often shown in textbooks and popular culture. Instead, the IVQI does not present such a clear pattern, so we expect it to not trigger the reviewer's attention, even if it's as easy to detect and fix as the SQL injection. In total, 146 participants performed our experiment. 80 were randomly assigned to the SQL injection and 66 to the IVQI. In the first step, more than half of the participants did not find the vulnerability. Most participants assigned to the IVQI vulnerability did not find it, while most assigned to the SQL injection did find it. SQL injection is 7 times more likely to be found by participants than the IVQI. Our analysis confirmed that having a clear pattern is significant to attract reviewers' attention. But what happens if we warn developers of the vulnerability? Does it even out the results? We find this out in the rest of the experiment. First, we surveyed these participants regarding their security experience and knowledge. Like this. Then, we warned the participants about the presence of a vulnerability in the change and allowed them to reconsider the review. Why?
Thank you. I think there is having a little bit of a technical issue that the video is being presented again automatically. For some people, they are looking into that at the moment. Okay. But if some other people can hear us, if some other people can hear us, just to remind everyone that after the Q&A session, there is also a discussion room that people can join with the authors and clarify and ask more questions. There is another question here coming up from Giovanni Gizzo. Did anyone assume that there was any kind of pre-processing of inputs before the inputs were getting to their code?
Yes, so among the 146 participants, we had one participant that said that he just assumed the input was pre-processed before.
Okay. All right. Some people may have missed the previous questions. And please, since you are in the Q&A, start firing your questions if you'd like to clarify anything. Okay. Tiago Espina Casiba is giving not really a question, but a remark. In my own work, I have looked at factors that lead software developers to use or ignore secure coding guidelines. Not respecting secure coding guidelines typically leads to vulnerabilities in the source code. You can check our work on Friday. Is secure coding education in the industry needed? An investigation through a large-scale survey. In our work, we also look at a serious game entitled Cybersecurity Challenge.
Yeah, thank you. I will check it for sure.
See that we already asked a question, maybe we're out, but I think that Larissa answered about the IIV common across domains. And we have a new question now from Busaliri Emeka, where the participants also presented with specifications of the code to be reviewed for vulnerabilities.
No, we didn't give the specifications of the code, like how the software had to look like after it's done. But we did provide the comments of the methods and of the class, so they do know what that method should do. So it reflects a real world scenario where you see the method and you have specifications for it there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have another question, Larissa. One of the things that you suggest is to have training of developers with respect to missing the vulnerabilities. And I wonder what you think should be emphasized in this type of training, or if you have thought about the preparation of this training.
Thank you. So what we noticed in this experiment is that developers, they are most likely, like 7 times more likely, to find vulnerabilities where the attack scenario is more popular. It's more like it's a popular attack scenario, such as the SQL injection, that is very well known. It's a book text example. It's very popular in culture. So we believe that the developers would benefit to have another kind of educational scenario where they are more exposed to vulnerabilities such as the IVQI. This way, if they have the more knowledge about it, if they deal with it more frequently, they will know how to recognize it probably easier. If not, how to recognize it, like just looking at it, because it's a bit difficult for that in some kind of vulnerabilities, but they will know what they have to look for. So the thing is, how can they find something if they do not have the contact with that?
Thank you. We have a new question here from AC Tosun. Were the developers experienced in fixing vulnerabilities before?
We did ask questions if they have reported vulnerabilities before and if they had dealt with vulnerabilities in their practical daily activities. And they did, some of them said yes, but it was a very low number.
Okay. Thank you. Just to remind everyone that they can join the discussion room and continue a conversation with Larissa, and I believe the other co-authors could be there as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for attending this session, and see you around ICSI, and enjoy your conference. Bye for now.
See you. Bye.